Oh, good morning, everybody. It is now January 10th, 2017. Morning breath, yummy. But anyway, guys, on a more serious note, I'm kind of going to get a little bit more personal with you guys here today. Um, but before we get into all that and get so personal, good morning, guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are enjoying the second week here into January, making the most of all the positive messages I've been giving you and all the words of encouragement and about seizing your day and capturing the moment and finding the light in the darkness. I hope you guys are all taking, what I say, you know, to heart in a sense, like, that you are, doing your best to achieve what you desire, to achieve the things you feel you deserve in life. I just can't get a good camera angle. Hold on, guys. All right, that's a better camera angle. Kind of, whatever. It'll have to do. But, take what I say with a grain of salt. Obviously, you need to do you and do what works for you. Not everything I say or give advice about is going to work for you. Just because it's worked for me doesn't always mean it's going to work for the next person. Sometimes you got to find your own way and make your own way, which is the advice I would honestly rather give to you guys, that find your own way, make your own light, make your own opportunities, and grow from it. Learn from your mistakes and then improve on your attempts that have failed. See where you failed, but see where you found success in it. Obviously, you had to succeed in the beginning in order to fail. I mean, you had to have some success in order to fail, because you don't just fail right away. There's always some kind of success in the beginning, and then something along the way just kind of falls apart, and you don't realize where things are falling apart, where like that chink in your armor is, and it just starts weakening or rusting, and eventually just falls apart because of old age or just something that hit it and broke it, snapped it off. I mean, like, I'm using metaphors to try to make you guys understand that, you gotta learn from your mistakes and find where you went wrong, and then try to do better the next time around. Take what you've learned and then make something out of it. But anyway, guys, let's move on to the more personal stuff. So, like, I want to tell you guys, I've been through my own experiences. I'm 33 years old now, and I've been through things more than most people my age. Most people my age at 33 haven't been through half the stuff I've been through. I mean, when I was born, I had 106 temperature, which is basically death for a baby, especially like a newborn. What happened was that I was allergic to some of the medications that they gave me, the shots they give babies when they're first born. Apparently, I was allergic to it at that time and developed a fever and basically put me into an incubator or whatever, and somehow, saved my life. But, have a baby having that temperature can cause some serious complications. Not only can kill the baby, but can also, if the baby survives, cause brain damage if they don't get the fever down fast enough and whatnot. At least that's what I believe in. I'm not 100% sure on that. That's not fact. So I'm just stating what I think is possibilities and what I've heard, but not knowing 100% facts. With that being said, in that other way, that I grew up with my mom, my grandma, and my uncle. My father left at some point after I was born, and it just didn't work out to my mom and dad. My dad is completely deaf and mute. He only visited me up until I was about 8 years old. After I turned 8, basically, he just vanished, disappeared, and never saw me again. Every time I saw him, he was always drunk. And that's kind of who my father was even before I was born. He was kind of an alcoholic. Then, like, after they got divorced, he started doing drugs and started drinking a lot more, and his life just went to shit. He got fired from every job he tried to do. I mean, he was a hard worker at first, and then somewhere along the line, he fell off. Things happened, and stresses of life got to him. I don't know exactly, but, something happened, and he just fell off. He couldn't find the light anymore, and he just kept sinking further and further into the darkness. And when you sink that far and that deep in, it becomes really hard for an individual to find the light anymore, to find any hope or happiness in anything, because you're just wallowing in despair and self-pity and you're diving into things, drugs and alcohol, which I don't condone or recommend or to anybody. I'm not here trying to advocate drug use or drinking as a way to solve your problems. I don't condone that at all. That is not a way to solve your problems. That's not going to get rid of the problems. You want help? Talk to a therapist, a counselor. Get on medication for your anxiety or panic attacks, like I'm trying to get on and trying to work to get on. But anyway, continuing on with my life story. Like after all that, about 8 years old when I started having like I guess you could say my mental crisis, my mental disorders. I was diagnosed back then when I was 8 years old as having anxiety and panic attacks, having I guess ADHD, depression. I don't really know how you go about diagnosing an 8-year-old with all these things like anxiety and depression and panic attacks. I mean, I don't remember my childhood. I don't remember anything past probably like 13, like anything below like 14, 13. I don't remember. I remember bits and pieces of my childhood, but nothing too specific. Anyway, again, going off topic and going off on a tangent. So yeah, that's when I got diagnosed with all my stuff at 8. That diagnosis. Before all the other diagnoses came into play, it started with that. As I got older, obviously, they felt like my things were changing or getting more severe because of my behaviors. But in my eyes at the time, it was just normal teenage behavior. That's what teens do. They misbehave. They don't listen to their parents. They throw fits. Even as a teenager, you still throw a fit. You still throw tantrums. You still have your little rage moments, and the rages get a little bit more severe. I started punching holes in walls and breaking things and slamming doors and just doing dumb stuff and acting like a teenager. Or at least what I thought at the time was just normal teenage behavior, and which I still think to this day was normal teenage behavior. I still think teenagers today still kind of do that kind of thing. But and then I wasn't really raised by my mom or dad. My mom was in the picture, like she lived with us. She took me out to play and took me to the playground, but she never really interacted with me. She never really was like a mother figure. I always just called her by her first name, and I never really called her mom or mother or mama or mommy and none of that. I never called her any of the possible nicknames you could use for mom, and it was always just her first name. And, my grandmother was like more like my mother, my father, my brother, my sister. My grandmother was my everything, like literally everything. Like even though I acted out and kind of treated her to like shit a lot of times, I loved her to death. I loved her so much that it kills me even today to look back at how I used to treat her. And it still haunts me that, I never really got a chance to say sorry to her, that, I'm sorry for the way I treated her, for the way I talked to her, for the shit I put her through as a child that she shouldn't have to, deal with, because she already raised 4 children before me that were her children. And I wasn't her kid. I wasn't supposed to be her responsibility. She did her responsibility as a parent already. She took care and raised, 4 good kids, but not that my mom was a bad person. My mom was just going through a lot of shit on her own, from her childhood, and then from from being an adult, from all the shit she had to go through as an adult, especially being a person with a disability, being hard of hearing, and having some speech issues. It's hard for a child like that to live in a world where everyone judges people, everyone's so hard on everybody, and everyone's just a dick to people. Especially people with disabilities, whether you're retarded or you got some kind of hearing disability, or maybe you're missing a leg or you got an extra finger. I don't know. Any kind of thing that could make you stand out from what people consider normal. People are just very hypercritical of people, and it's disgusting when you really think about it. How we as a human race, we as an enlightened race of people with such great ideas and ideals and so much love to give, that we are so spiteful and nasty towards people who had no control over what has happened in their life, or what they've become, or what has happened to them throughout their lifetime. We can't, it's just not fair. It's not. And anyway, let me get off that tangent, because I could go on about that forever. So, a lot of things happened in my mom's life, which led to, her kind of not being a mom. And growing up, as I got older, me and her started getting into physical fights. We actually started physically hitting each other and just getting into fights. Every time we'd argue, it'd end up in physical, violence. We had to get cops called, and there was times where me and my mom put each other in the hospital, and it was a rough childhood. It was a rough childhood. But I mean, like nowadays, I look back at it, and it was just one of those things. Like now I understand. Now I know what my mom went through. Like I understand now. I sympathize with her, and I love her. I do. I love my mom as much as there's still resentment and some like animosity between me and her, and we still don't really have a relationship. I now actually do love her a lot more than I ever did before, and I understand being an adult now and seeing my own life struggles, the things that I've been through. I can understand why it would make an adult, a parent, not treat their child as a child or not care for their child as a child. Not saying it's an excuse. Not saying it's an excuse for how she behaved or for how she lacked as a parent. But she's still my mom regardless. She gave me life. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. Yeah, yes, my grandma played a role in it, but my mom is my mom, regardless at the end of the day. And I love her to death. And, nowadays I do whatever I can to try to help her, and I try to be there for her. And, I just want to see her continue living a better life. And she's a lot more happier than she has ever been before. I mean, she still has her anger issues and anxiety. She has her own things going on with her, that she's still trying to deal with and still trying to conquer her demons. And she's still trying to find her light within the darkness. And, I want to be there to help her and reinforce that positivity and help her find the happiness that she deserves. Right now she's, involved with someone romantically, and that's great. And I'm happy for her. And he's a great guy. I've met him bunches of times, and he's a great man. He's a wonderful man. He gives her the world, treats her like a freaking queen. And that's better than I can say for that than any other guy that's been in her life besides one who passed away, unfortunately, the love of her life. Not my father, but another guy afterwards that she met later on in life. He passed away, unfortunately, and she loved him very much, and he was a great guy too. I met him a bunch of times as a teenager, as a kid, and he was a great guy, funny guy, even though he was deaf as well. But he was a great guy. He was wonderful to my mom. And there's other guys in her life that I met that I didn't like at all. Right from the rip, didn't like them. And, throughout time proved, that he was, the guys that she was with weren't good guys. And now she's with the good guy she's been with for quite some time. And I couldn't be happier for her. And I'm hoping to see, some wonderful things. Maybe they get married, they eventually might live together. I mean, he's not from the U.S., he's from Canada. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out as far as him maybe moving down here and living in the U.S. or her going up there, which I would hate, because if she goes to Canada, then I would be completely alone here in the United States and in New Jersey, and I don't know what I would do. That would probably drive me insane, because I look to my mom nowadays a lot as my support, my mentor, and I come to her and go to her occasionally, not as much as I should. Like, I come to her and go to her with my problems, or just to cry and just to give her a hug so I can feel better. And maybe she feels better. Maybe she's having a bad day too. And obviously I ask her about her day. I check up on her, make sure she's doing all right. So, I mean, there's things, where there are bonds. There are moments of bonding between me and my mom. And, it's been a hard life for both of us. But regardless, at the end of the day, I'm her son, and she knows that. And she's my mom, and I know that. And we both respect and we both love each other dearly. And even though we haven't had much of a relationship as a child, we've had so much more relationship since I've become an adult. Our relationship has been tremendous, has been amazing, and I love the time that I get to spend with her. And I love having her in my life now more than I ever did as a kid growing up. I was never appreciative of the things I had. And that's basically what I'm trying to say, guys. Appreciate the things you have in life, the people you have in your life, because nothing is forever and things happen. We all have bad days, and sometimes we get into arguments with our friends, our family, and we say things we don't mean. And it just happens. You get caught up and you're already upset, and then they say something that sets you off, and then you're going back and forth, and you just stop talking to each other. Don't let those little things hold you back. Don't let those things ruin a good friendship. There's so many stupid things that we all fight about with each other. So many stupid small things that don't even make sense afterwards. And you're like, why did we even fight about that? It was so stupid. And I know it's hard for us to let go, but like some people don't know when to let go of those emotions, of that pain, and yeah, okay, it takes time and you have to heal. That's why you give each other space. You give each other time to heal and to make those wounds no longer existent. Eventually, yeah, they're always going to have scar. There's always going to be a scar there of that wound, but it does heal and it does go away eventually. Not completely, but for the most part, it eventually goes away. So, guys, take your time with the things you do and let the wounds heal. Don't let them fester. Don't keep picking at them. Get over it and move on. Let yourself heal and find happiness once again. And don't ruin a good friendship. Fix whatever it is that is broken if you can. And if you can't, then obviously you have to move on. Unfortunately, as much as it hurts and it sucks, you eventually have to move on. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. This video was super long because I just was getting really, really sensitive about a topic today, and I wanted to share with you guys a little bit more about my life and the things I've been through and just everything that makes me me. And that, if I can, come this far in life through all the things I've been through, then so can you. Stay positive, guys. And remember, stay cool, be cool, give respect, and you will get respect in return. Peace. I love you guys.